The short film that I made is called The Unknown and tells the story of a 19-year-old schizophrenic boy who finds himself trapped in the afterlife. I used a hybrid genre which merged the best assets of an independent film with a thriller film, creating an independent thriller. I used and also developed the typical codes and conventions of the two genres whilst challenging them where necessary to create something fresh and new. Ultimately, I presented the macro through the various carefully selected micro elements, such as 1 being cinematography, 2 sound, including soundtrack, 3 editing, and 4 mise en scene. Here are two examples of how I used, developed and/or challenged the main forms and conventions of pre-existing independent thrillers. Example 1. I aligned The Unknown with a thriller by using the typical convention of building audience suspense throughout the film. I used the sound design of the film Babadook as a reference to draw inspiration from. In this film, the sound, such as incessant scratching and the piercing soundtrack, create tones of anxiety. I mirrored this in my own film by using a Logic Mini MIDI keyboard and a preset piano sound on GarageBand. I then reversed the single note on Cubase and used it as the soundtrack to the flashbacks. Each and every time the sound gets louder, building audience anxiety and mounting to a climactic and thrilling moment at the end of the film. Another way in which I created suspense was through cinematography and editing. The constant portrayal of a single protagonist seen on screen, as well as a dark colour grade, creates a sense of impending doom, much like the use of fear-mongering as a tool in one of my references, It Follows. As well as this, I used the symbolism of water to create a constant metaphorical portrayal of drowning in depression to convey that the protagonist, Dylan, is in over his head, or his sinking feeling. This was something that was taken from independent film Submarine, which uses water as a subtle symbolic reference to depression. As well as this, the script is another clear use of a suspense building mechanism. The script starts off very mundane, and as the film goes on, an enigma is created, and we don't understand where Dylan is or why he deserves to be there. As the script unravels, we attempt to keep the audience hooked on the edge of their seats as we release more bite-sized capsules of important information, like puzzle pieces leading up to the ultimate reveal. This is a typical convention of a thriller, and whilst parallels can be drawn between real thrillers such as Taken, The Unknown contrasts with this code and convention as there is no happy resolve at the end and life continues, or doesn't, in a rather non-conclusive and banal way. As seen through the first shot of the film, consisting as the last shot of the film also, this acts as almost an endless cycle. My film, The Unknown, also aligned itself with the main codes and conventions of the independent genre, as I employed highly stylized methods to create a unique means of representation. One way I did this was through my use of editing. I used dark and blue tones when colour grading the beach scenes in order to create tones of depression and isolation. This can be contrasted directly with the use of bright colour grading used in the happy flashbacks, along with vividly coloured film burn overlays that I used to create a tone of warmth. I drew my inspiration for doing this from director Wes Anderson, who uses extremely stylized colour systems in his films to create intense tones and generally pleasing aesthetics. See below some of Wes Anderson's colour palettes that he used in his films. I also used Wes Anderson as a point of reference when I was making the poster for The Unknown. I liked how many graphic designers had taken an important detail and used it as the forefront for the poster in a digital Andy Warhol type style. Although my own didn't turn out like this, it definitely taught me to be more open and creative with my choice of image, conforming to the codes and conventions of an independent film. Another independent film that I referenced for my poster was Submarine. I created a YouTube video blending together all of the posters that stuck out to me. I think my poster has a lot of similarities with the main poster used for Submarine, which can be seen below. My use of location and lighting was highly stylised and added to the two contrasting tones of desolate hope and then also joy. I chose a depressing beach with grey stones and filmed on an overcast day so that the lighting would be darker naturally. This can be directly contrasted with the flashbacks, which were filmed on bright sunny days and included brightly coloured settings and props, for example, a flower garden. This is also a code and convention of an independent film because we had no budget and therefore we couldn't really work with any kind of professional lighting. Everything had to be natural, and so it pushed us to think outside the box and really find creative ways of filming.